Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Matt here. Today I'm going to show you how you can create your own flipbook textures in Blender. I'll show you how you can simulate an explosion fireball and how you can render it and how you can pack it into a flipbook texture, as well as creating a motion vector texture for it. All the assets we create as well as the Blender files are available for download in my Patreon. Make sure to check it out. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so let's quickly make a fireball. Let me turn on my screencast keys so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to add in a UV sphere, and let's rotate it 90 degrees that way so that we have this face dense area pointing that way. And I'm gonna get rid of half of this sphere because we don't really care about the flame that's gonna be shooting out that way. We only care about this one, this side of it. And I'm gonna slide these two edge rings a little bit so that it's not too dense here. Anyways, we can add in a displace modifier, and let's add a new texture for it, and this is going to be a cloud texture, and it doesn't really matter too much, but I'm going to use the improved Perlin noise for the noise texture. And now we can go to Object, Quick Effects, Quick Smoke. Let's resize the domain. So I'm gonna move it so that it's right behind our emitter object. We don't really care. And I'm gonna select this face, and I'm gonna move it till about there. Yeah, that seems about right. And I'm gonna scale it up so it's like 2 times bigger. That way, maybe a little bigger, something like that. And also scale it on this axis so it's kind of like a square. Yeah, that seems about right. And let's go to the physics tab, and I'm gonna turn on dissolve and noise, and we can also add a bit of vorticity, like 0.2 I think is good. And for the cache, let's turn on is resumable so that we can pause the baking and check out the simulation as it's baking. I'm gonna turn off gravity because we want the flame to just shoot outwards. We don't want it to go up or down, so turn off gravity. And for the cache, I'm gonna save this file, this blend file, and I'm gonna create a folder for the cache. Alright, so I'm gonna call this Fireball, and I'm gonna create a new folder here for cache. And this is going to be where our simulation is going to be baked to. And I think we need 64 frames for like an 8x8 flipbook. So I'm gonna set the simulation caching to end at frame 64. And let's select our emitter object, and I'm gonna set it to be fire and smoke, and let's set the fuel to something higher, like 4. and you want it to shoot outwards from this semi-sphere. And for that, we're gonna give it some initial velocity along the normals of these faces. So let's turn up the normal to like 50 or like 55. And we can also give it a texture for a little more randomness. We're going to use the same texture we used for the displacement. And if you play it back now, you can see that it just continues having, the fire. We want it to be like a short burst of fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 1 and add a keyframe to use flow. And then you can go till about here and then turn it off and keyframe it. So now it will stop emitting fire at about here. And it will dissolve much faster. Alright, now let's turn up the resolution in our domain. So we can give it like, I think 96 is enough. You may want to go higher, but I think 96 is good enough, so I'm gonna go with 96. It's 64 frames. It's gonna take a long time to bake the simulation, so 96 is enough. And let's change the type of our caching to all and just bake it all. So as I said, we have checked is resumable, so we can just press escape to pause the baking at any moment during our baking to see what the simulation is gonna look like. And I think it's a little too like perfect, like a perfectly spherical shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add any turbulence, and I'm gonna set the strength to like 5, and then I'm gonna bake again. So I'm gonna go down here and free this, and I'm just gonna bake again. The bake is over, and this is what the explosion looks like. And I think it looks pretty good, especially considering that we didn't go all out on the domain resolution. I think it still looks pretty good. We have some really nice texture in the fireball, and at around frame 25, 26, the flames go out, and the rest of it is just smoke. You can't really see it that well with this background, but if we add in a sunlight, and let me increase its intensity to like 12, and if we switch to cycles, GPU, and we go to the rendered view, and let me make the background completely dark, and let's turn off the visibility of our sphere. We don't really need that anymore. So let's go over to a shader editor, and let's select our domain. So this density controls the density of the smoke, and turning up the black body intensity gives us the fire. So I'm going to add in an attribute input node, and we're gonna get an attribute called heat. I'm gonna run that through a color ramp, and let's plug that into our black body intensity, and now we can see the flame. And I want to make it a little more contrasty, so I'm gonna make it a little darker, and yeah, let's add a darker node back here so that we get a little bit of we get more of the fire flame texture out of that. And we can actually make it a little brighter. I think it's a little too fiery. We want it to be a little brighter, so I'm gonna multiply this with like, I don't know, 10. Yeah, that does make it a lot brighter. Yeah, that looks way more like an explosion now. Alright, so it looks pretty cool. Now we should add the smoke. So I want the explosion to start with no smoke, because if you set the density to like 100, we will get some nice thick smoke in our explosion, and it looks something like this. We can actually make the color of the smoke a little darker, something like that. But we only wanted to have smoke around here. We don't want it to start with a lot of smoke. And also, I think we can make the emission a lot stronger here. Or maybe let's go 100. Why not? So up until I think here, we don't want smoke. So or I think maybe like till about here, frame 15. So I'm gonna set this to 0, and I'm gonna give it a keyframe, and then we're gonna go till like I don't know, frame 20, and set this to 100 and get a keyframe. So now we go from no smoke into slowly having more and more smoke. And let me turn on the transparency here in the film tab, in the render tab. So yeah, we're gonna have the smoke, and the flame just gets dissolved at around frame 25, and the smoke will also slowly dissolve. I wanted it to be like 64 frames, so we have like an 8x8 flipbook, but looking at these many frames here, not much is happening here, so I think we can go with a I think 4x8 flipbook and get like 32 frames. So this is where the the flipbook animation should finish, and as you can see, we have a very small amount of smoke there. I want it to be completely gone, so I'll set the density to 0 and add another keyframe there. So the smoke will go up to 100 here, and then it will go back to 0, basically just fades out till we get to frame 32. So I'm going to set the end of my timeline to 32, and we're going to render 32 frames. So let's add in a camera, and let's reset the position and rotation on this camera. Let's move it around here. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. And let's go with a resolution of 512 by 512 for each frame. And we're going to make sure everything is in frame. So we're going to find the frame that is like the largest, and we're going to move the camera. Wait a minute, why is my screencast keys turned off again? Okay, so we're gonna GZZ to move it back, and GG to move it freely like that. And I think we have everything in frame. Let's go into the rendered view. Yeah, we almost have everything in frame, and move that a little. Okay, so we have everything in frame. Well, actually not. The smoke keeps getting bigger. Okay, so let's move the camera a little back. So it's about here. And now we have everything in frame. Yep. So now we can render this. So I'm gonna save this file, and let's go to our output, and I'm gonna create another folder called render, and we're gonna render in this folder. We don't want any compression, and let's go with a TGA format, just to, you know, not have any compression at all. Alright, so let's set our samples, our render samples, down to something like 16. And if you render one frame of our explosion, you'll see that it looks alright. But if I save this as a file, and we open up the file, we'll see that it looks nothing like our render. And that is because the alpha of our render only comes from the smoke, and the flame doesn't write to the alpha. So one way to fix that would be to go to our view layers and also render the emission as a layer, and then we can go to the compositor, use nodes, and here what we can do, well, let's render this one more time. Render image. Alright, so now if you
look at this. If you plug the emission into the color, this is what we have in the emission layer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this through a color ramp, and then we're gonna add it to the alpha of our render, and then we're gonna plug it in there. And now if you look at the alpha, you can see that it's much stronger, and we can control its strength with the color ramp. So if you bring it all the way up here, now it looks much closer, but as you can see, we have a sort of black border around it. If you bring this value till about there, let's save that one more time. Now, as you can see, it looks much better. So let's render one frame with the smoke as well, just to see what it looks like. Alright, so let's save this to see what it looks like. And yeah, it looks alright. So now we can render the timeline. Alright, so let's get rid of these, and we're gonna render the whole timeline. And maybe 100 is a little too much. Let's go back to like 45. Alright, so now we have all the 32 frames rendered, and now we can pack them into a flipbook. So here's actually another fireball that I rendered. I think this one looks a little nicer. The other one, this is the one we just rendered, and this one looks cool too, but I think I like this one better. And I'm going to show you how you can pack this into a flipbook, and how you can make motion vectors for it, and how you can use it in your game engine. Alright, so we're going to be using a tool called Motion Frame. It's on GitHub, so let me go to my starred repositories. And here it is, Motion Frame. I'll link this in the description so you can get it. So we're going to have to clone this and install the requirements. And there's actually a command for installing it. Copy this if you're on Windows. I'm using Linux, and I can just copy the macOS command and head over to a folder where you want to install this. For just this demonstration, I'm going to install it right here. Let's open a command prompt and paste in this these commands. It's going to clone the repository into a folder called Motion Frame. And then it's going to try to install the requirements. It's using OpenCV to estimate the motion vectors. Alright, so once this is installed, it just opens this app. And if you close this and you want to run it again, all you have to do is go to this folder called Motion Frame, and go to the folder called App, and open this in Terminal, and just run the motionframe.py, and it'll open up the window. Alright, so once this is open, we can browse to where our frames are. Mine is here in this render folder. We're just gonna click open, and this will try to figure out the naming convention. So I'd probably just leave this at whatever it is, and here we can set the resolution. So we did 512 by 512. We have 32 frames, so that's going to be an 8 by 4. So we're going to have 8 columns and 4 rows, and we're going to need to set this to 4096. And then you can check loop if your animation is looped, but ours is just an explosion, so we're good to go. Let's just press generate, and this will take a few seconds, but it will pack our explosion into a flipbook texture, and it will also create a motion vector for it. The motion vector is just these vectors, which is the movement of the pixels from each frame to the next frame. And then these vectors are stored as color, so the XY is stored as the RG in this texture. So we're gonna save this. I'm gonna go back here, create a new folder, call it Flipbook, and in here we can call this fireball underscore 2, because this is the second one I'm packing. And we can also say the dimensions here, so we can do 8 by 4, or we have rows and columns, so we should call this 4 by 8, I think. And we can save this, and if you go back here and check it out, we have a flipbook of our color, and then we also have the motion vector, and then we also get this JSON file, which is the metadata for our flipbook. So this strength value is the value that the shader uses to basically distort the UV on this flipbook using the motion vector. So basically the motion vector texture contains vectors, and the strength is how much, how strong those vectors should be used to distort the color texture. Alright, let me show you how you can use the flipbook textures we just created. So here is our textures, and let me copy that into a Unity project. Alright, so first things first, the motion vector textures, we have to turn off the sRGB checkbox, because these are not color data, these are motion data. Secondly, we can select the fireball color and check alpha is transparency. And that'll make them transparent. Alright, so I'm going to create a visual effects graph. Let's go ahead with the simple burst. I'm going to call it fireball. Let's drag it into our scene. Here's what it looks like. Alright, we want to spawn one particle. And let's get rid of this and this. We're going to give it a lifetime of 1.5 to 3 seconds maybe, and let's give it a set position. We don't want gravity or drag. Let's get rid of the output context. We're gonna do a lit quad output.
Alright, so here we're going to set the UV mode to Flipbook, and we're going to assign one of our Flipbooks here. It's an 8x4 Flipbook, and we're gonna check the Flipbook blend frames and use motion vectors, and we're gonna assign the motion vector here. And in our motion vector scale, we're gonna copy this value and we're gonna paste it here. Now let me add in a billboard here, and let's also set size to like 3. And we're gonna set the texture index from the lifetime. So let's get the lifetime. Sample curve. And let's sample this curve. And let's multiply it with 31 because we have 32 frames. And you can see we have very smooth frame blending with the motion vector. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope this helped you all out. If it did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, check out my Patreon, link down in the description.